According to the USDA, grocery prices for food consumed at home across the United States have climbed by more than 25% since 2020. That increase has affected nearly every household, making routine shopping noticeably more expensive than it was just a few years ago. The bigger issue, however, isn't simply that prices continue to rise. Many families end up paying even more because they wait until costs have already increased before buying the products they regularly use, leaving them with little opportunity to avoid the higher prices. In today's video, we're going to take a closer look at 12 grocery items that are worth picking up at Walmart before August 1st, 2026, while current pricing may still offer better value. Number 12. All-purpose flour. It's probably one of the last grocery items most people would expect to become more expensive. If someone told you that a plain bag of all-purpose flour is among the products most exposed to future price increases and supply disruptions, you'd likely be skeptical. After all, Walmart shelves are usually packed with it, making it seem like an item that will never be in short supply. That constant availability is exactly why it's so easy to take flour for granted. Because it's always there, few shoppers stop to think about how important it really is or how many foods depend on it every single day. What many people overlook is that flour is the foundation of an enormous number of everyday foods. Sandwich bread, hamburger buns, frozen pizzas, cookies, pancakes, pastries, dry pasta, and hundreds of other packaged products all start with the same basic ingredient: wheat flour. According to the USDA, the average American consumes roughly 130 to 140 pounds of wheat-based foods each year, which is close to 60 kilograms. That makes wheat one of the most heavily consumed grains in the country and an essential part of the American diet. Because wheat is used in so many products, an increase in flour prices doesn't just affect the cost of a single bag sitting on a store shelf. The effects ripple through the entire grocery store, gradually pushing up the prices of countless foods made from the same ingredient. Several factors have contributed to that pressure in recent years. Major wheat-producing states such as Kansas, North Dakota, and Montana have dealt with recurring droughts, unpredictable weather, and steadily rising production expenses. At the same time, the costs of transporting wheat, milling it into flour, and packaging the finished product have remained significantly higher than they were just a few years ago. Another factor worth paying attention to is timing. Early August is a period when many food manufacturers and retailers begin updating supply agreements for the second half of the year. Those new contracts can eventually work their way into retail pricing, which is why many market observers suggest purchasing long-lasting pantry staples before another round of price adjustments becomes more noticeable. This is one area where Walmart often has an advantage. Thanks to its enormous buying power, the company can frequently offer great value all-purpose flour at a lower price per pound than many competing grocery stores. Large purchasing volumes allow Walmart to delay some price increases longer than smaller retailers. However, buying flour is only part of the equation. One of the biggest mistakes people make is leaving it in the original paper bag after opening it. Paper offers very little protection against moisture, and even small amounts of humidity can reduce quality while creating conditions that allow pantry pests, including weevils, to develop. Number 11. Peanut butter. Few foods in the grocery store can solve as many mealtime problems as a simple jar of peanut butter. It may not look impressive, but it's one of the most practical and versatile staples you can keep in your pantry. There's an interesting contrast in many American supermarkets. High-priced products are often locked behind glass, while one of the most useful foods in the entire store sits out in the open for only a few dollars. That food is peanut butter. Most people think of peanut butter as nothing more than a spread for toast or sandwiches. In reality, though, you're getting much more than a single ingredient. Every jar provides countless easy meal options and quick solutions to the question families ask almost every day: what's for dinner? Or, what can we eat right now? According to the USDA, roughly 90% of American households purchase peanut butter, and the average person eats about 7 pounds of it each year. That popularity isn't surprising when you consider its nutritional value. Just 2 tablespoons typically provide around 7 to 8 grams of protein, along with heart-healthy unsaturated fats, vitamin E, and magnesium. A large 40-ounce jar can provide well over 70 servings. It pairs easily with bread, oatmeal, bananas, apples, crackers, smoothies, and can even be used as the base for a variety of savory sauces and recipes. Very few items sold at Walmart can be stretched into as many meals while costing so little per serving. That's one reason many shoppers choose to buy it before August arrives. Although the United States is one of the world's leading peanut producers, with most crops grown in Georgia, Alabama, Florida, and Texas, the industry continues to face higher expenses for fertilizer, fuel, labor, packaging, and transportation. As suppliers begin implementing new contracts for the second half of the year, manufacturers may adjust prices on many peanut-based products to reflect those increased costs. Even if weather conditions remain favorable throughout the growing season, production costs alone can still influence what shoppers eventually pay. Walmart often manages to keep prices competitive because of its enormous purchasing volume. It's great value. Natural peanut butter frequently offers a lower cost per ounce than many smaller containers or nationally recognized brands, making it an attractive option for families trying to stretch their grocery budget. One mistake many shoppers make is focusing only on the price printed on the shelf while overlooking the cost per ounce listed on the label. Spending just a few extra seconds comparing unit prices can lead to meaningful savings over time, especially for households that buy peanut butter regularly. Another common misconception involves natural peanut butter. If you notice a layer of oil floating on top after opening the jar, it doesn't mean the product has spoiled. That's simply the natural oil separating because the peanut butter contains fewer added stabilizers than conventional varieties. All you need to do is stir the oil back into the peanut butter thoroughly. After mixing, storing the jar in the refrigerator helps keep the texture more consistent and preserves its flavor for a longer period. Number 10. Pasta. One inexpensive box can become the starting point for dozens of completely different meals, making it one of the most versatile pantry staples you can buy. Spending only about $1 to $1.50 on a box of pasta doesn't mean you're settling for low-quality meals. Instead, you're buying a simple ingredient that can be transformed into a wide variety of satisfying dinners without stretching your grocery budget. That's exactly why pasta has remained a favorite in American kitchens for generations. Food trends may come and go, but pasta continues to hold its place because it's affordable, convenient, and incredibly adaptable. According to the National Pasta Association, Americans enjoy billions of servings of pasta every year, making it one of the most commonly stocked dry foods found in households across the country. A standard 16-ounce box typically provides around 8 side dish portions or approximately 4 to 6 main course servings, depending on the recipe and portion sizes. That means a single purchase can feed a family more than once. One of pasta's biggest advantages is how easily it changes with just a few ingredients. Tonight it might be served with tomato sauce and seasoned ground beef. Tomorrow the same pasta could become a creamy Alfredo with chicken. A few days later, a simple combination of olive oil, fresh garlic, and grated Parmesan can create an entirely different meal. The pasta stays the same, but every dinner feels new. Its affordability isn't the only reason so many shoppers consider pasta a pantry essential. Dry pasta also has an impressively long shelf life. Because it contains very little moisture, it can maintain good quality for 2 to 3 years, and sometimes even longer, when stored properly in an airtight container in a cool, dry environment. That's what makes it such a reliable emergency staple. You can purchase it today, place it in your pantry, and not think about it again until the day you need a quick, inexpensive meal. For that reason, many shoppers prefer to replenish their supply before August arrives. Pasta is made primarily from durum wheat, and production depends heavily on harvests in North America, as well as major exporting countries like Canada. Changes in weather, combined with rising costs for milling, energy, packaging, and transportation, can continue placing upward pressure on wheat-based products during the second half of the year. Walmart often keeps pasta prices highly competitive because of its massive purchasing power. Popular great value varieties, including spaghetti, penne, and elbow macaroni, are frequently priced lower than similar products sold by many competing retailers. One mistake many people make after bringing pasta home is leaving the opened package in its original cardboard box or paper packaging. Once exposed, even small amounts of moisture or pantry insects can reduce its quality over time. A better approach is to transfer opened pasta into an airtight container or sealed glass jar and store it somewhere cool and dry. This simple step helps preserve freshness while protecting it from humidity and pests. Another practical tip is to avoid cooking the entire box if you're preparing meals for only 1 or 2 people. Cooked pasta keeps well in the refrigerator for about 3 to 5 days, allowing you to prepare several quick lunches or dinners in advance while saving valuable time during busy weekdays. Number 9. Butter. Some ingredients can be substituted without much difference, but real butter isn't one of them. Its flavor, texture, and performance in cooking make it difficult to replace with anything else. The next time you walk through the refrigerated dairy section, take a moment to notice those familiar 4-stick packages of butter. Imagine a quiet morning in the kitchen, the gentle sizzle as butter melts into a hot skillet, the rich aroma filling the room, or the way it slowly softens into a slice of warm toast. It's one of those simple pleasures that many people hardly think about until it's gone. You'll see plenty of less expensive alternatives nearby, including margarine and butter blends. They certainly have their place, but for people who spend a lot of time cooking or baking, nothing quite matches the taste and cooking performance of real butter. It's one of those ingredients that many home cooks simply aren't willing to replace. Unlike pantry staples such as pasta, which are valued mainly because they stretch into many meals, butter is appreciated for the difference it makes in every bite. Even a small amount can dramatically improve the flavor and texture of a recipe. A single pat of real butter folded into mashed potatoes, vegetables, rice, or fresh bread can completely change the finished dish. That rich, creamy taste and smooth texture are exactly why experienced cooks continue reaching for butter instead of cheaper substitutes. The reason butter often costs more comes down to how it's produced. Making just 1 pound of butter requires more than 21 pounds of fresh whole milk. Because so much milk is needed, butter prices closely reflect changes throughout the U.S. dairy industry. When dairy farmers face higher expenses for feed, labor, fuel, transportation, and processing, those increases eventually work their way through the supply chain. As a result, butter prices on grocery store shelves often respond fairly quickly whenever dairy production becomes more expensive. Walmart frequently manages to keep butter prices competitive thanks to its enormous purchasing volume. Great value. Real butter is often priced more consistently than comparable products at many other supermarket chains, giving shoppers an opportunity to save on a product they use regularly. Another major advantage of butter is how well it stores. If current prices are favorable, buying extra and freezing it can be a practical way to prepare for future meals. Unsalted butter, in particular, freezes exceptionally well. Simply place unopened packages toward the back of the freezer, where they can maintain excellent quality for 6 months to a year. Once thawed properly, butter generally retains its original flavor, texture, and baking performance, making it a convenient ingredient to keep on hand for everything from holiday baking to everyday cooking. One storage mistake people often make is leaving butter in the refrigerator door for extended periods. Because butter readily absorbs odors from nearby foods, it can gradually pick up unwanted flavors that affect its taste. Number 8. Extra virgin olive oil. A single bottle may seem expensive at first, but it can become an essential ingredient in hundreds of meals, making it one of the most valuable items you can keep in your kitchen. Imagine a thin stream of golden olive oil with a subtle green tint being drizzled over a crisp salad, or adding the finishing touch to roasted chicken and vegetables fresh from the oven. That simple addition is what gives extra virgin olive oil its reputation as one of the most versatile and flavorful cooking staples available. Unlike butter, which is appreciated for the rich flavor it brings to a dish immediately, extra virgin olive oil offers benefits that extend far beyond taste. One quality bottle can be used throughout an entire season, quietly becoming part of countless family meals while contributing healthy unsaturated fats that support a balanced diet and heart health. The higher price you see on store shelves isn't the result of chance. It's largely a reflection of supply problems that have developed over several years. Consecutive poor olive harvests across much of the Mediterranean, driven by prolonged drought and other extreme weather conditions, have significantly reduced production. Spain alone accounts for roughly 40% of the world's olive oil supply. When the country's olive groves experience difficult growing seasons, the effects are felt throughout the global market. Lower production means tighter supplies, and those shortages eventually translate into higher prices for shoppers around the world. As these supply pressures continue working their way through distribution contracts during the second half of 2026, olive oil is expected to remain one of the grocery items where many households notice price increases most clearly. Walmart's massive purchasing power helps soften some of that impact. Because the company buys products in enormous quantities, its great value extra virgin olive oil is often available at a more competitive price per ounce than similar products sold by many traditional grocery chains. One mistake shoppers frequently make is paying attention only to the words olive oil, while overlooking the description that matters most: extra virgin. That distinction is important because oils labeled simply pure or light are typically more heavily refined through heat processing, which removes much of the natural flavor and reduces many of the beneficial compounds found in extra virgin varieties. If you're shopping at Walmart, a practical strategy is to compare the larger bottles of great value extra virgin olive oil. Verify that the label indicates it is cold-pressed, and choose the size that offers the best value per ounce. Once you bring it home, store the bottle in a cool, dark pantry away from direct sunlight, heat, and the stove. Protecting the oil from light and high temperatures helps slow oxidation, allowing it to maintain its flavor and quality for much longer. Buying a bottle before August 1st could be a smart way to lock in today's pricing if costs continue climbing. Then, each time you reach for it in the months ahead, your attention can stay on preparing flavorful, wholesome meals instead of wondering how much more that same bottle might cost on your next grocery trip. Number 7. Whole bean coffee. For many people, coffee isn't simply the first drink of the day. It's the ritual that marks the beginning of every morning. You've probably heard someone say they can't hold a conversation until they've had their first cup of coffee. For millions of people, that's not just a joke. Coffee has become a daily habit woven into everyday life, offering a familiar sense of comfort before the demands of the day begin. That first mug often represents a few rare moments of peace. It's a chance to sit quietly before the rest of the household wakes up, before emails arrive, phones start ringing, and the responsibilities of the day take over. For many, those few minutes are just as valuable as the coffee itself. Unfortunately, that daily ritual is becoming more expensive as global coffee production continues to face growing challenges. Here's an important statistic to keep in mind. Brazil and Vietnam together produce roughly 55% of the world's coffee supply. When both of these major growing regions experience severe droughts or other unfavorable weather during the same period, global inventories of green coffee beans can shrink dramatically. Reduced harvests, combined with elevated shipping and transportation costs, have pushed coffee futures significantly higher. As those increased costs move through the supply chain, many bags of coffee on grocery store shelves are likely to receive higher price tags during the second half of 2026. If you're shopping at Walmart, one of the best values is often found in the larger 2 to 3 pound bags sold under the Great Value brand. Purchasing larger packages instead of several smaller ones typically lowers the price per ounce, making it a more economical choice before August 1st. Another common mistake is choosing pre-ground coffee simply because it's slightly more convenient. While it saves a little preparation time, grinding coffee long before brewing exposes far more surface area to the air, allowing the aromatic oils responsible for much of the coffee's flavor and aroma to dissipate much more quickly. People who care about getting the best flavor from every cup often choose whole bean coffee instead. The bean's outer shell naturally protects those delicate oils, helping preserve freshness until the moment they're ground. Once you bring whole beans home, divide them into several airtight containers or vacuum-sealed bags instead of opening and closing one large package repeatedly. Storing the unused portions in the freezer helps protect flavor and freshness for much longer. Each week, simply remove enough beans for the next several days while leaving the rest sealed until you need them. Planning ahead this way can help you maintain your daily coffee routine while reducing the impact of future price increases. Then, when tomorrow morning arrives, you can wrap your hands around your favorite mug, enjoy the rich aroma of freshly brewed coffee, and start the day with the same sense of comfort, focus, and quiet that you've always appreciated. Number 6. Eggs. Few grocery items reflect the state of a family's food budget as clearly as a carton of eggs. For many shoppers, egg prices have become an unofficial barometer of how expensive grocery shopping has become. There's an interesting pattern you'll notice in American supermarkets. When many people walk into Walmart, they don't head straight to the meat department or check the price of milk first. Instead, one of the first things they look at is the price of eggs. Eggs have become more than just another item on the shopping list. They serve as a psychological benchmark for grocery costs. A small increase in the price of cereal or another packaged product might go unnoticed, but if a dozen eggs suddenly costs $1 more than it did before, many shoppers feel the impact immediately. That's why egg prices often shape how families think about their monthly grocery budget. When prices remain stable, people feel like grocery costs are under control. When they begin climbing, it's often seen as an early warning that household expenses may continue rising and that it might be time to spend more carefully. Behind every carton of eggs is a supply chain that faces constant challenges. What looks like a simple product on the shelf depends on healthy flocks, affordable feed, reliable transportation, and steady production throughout the year. Recent outbreaks of avian influenza in the United States have placed significant pressure on that system. During the latest waves of the disease, more than 40 million laying hens were culled as part of efforts to limit its spread, substantially reducing the nation's egg-producing flock. With fewer hens producing eggs and farmers continuing to face higher feed, labor, fuel, and transportation expenses, the overall supply has remained under pressure. Those factors have made it more difficult for retailers to keep prices steady. Walmart has used its large purchasing power to keep great value eggs as competitively priced as possible. Even so, as existing supplier contracts are renewed and new agreements take effect around the second half of the year, shoppers may begin seeing additional price changes in the refrigerated section after August 1st. That doesn't mean you should fill your refrigerator with cartons of eggs in an attempt to stockpile them. Unlike many dry pantry staples, fresh eggs have a limited shelf life, and their quality can decline more quickly if storage temperatures fluctuate. A more practical approach is to buy enough eggs to cover roughly 2 to 3 weeks of normal household use while prices remain favorable. This allows you to benefit from current pricing without risking unnecessary waste. If you're shopping at Walmart, the Great Value large 18-count cartons often provide one of the best everyday values, lowering the cost per egg compared with many smaller packages. Eggs also happen to be one of the most versatile ingredients in any kitchen. They can become a quick breakfast omelet, pancakes for the kids, baked goods, casseroles, fried rice, homemade pasta, or even add richness and texture to a slow-cooked dinner. Few ingredients play a role in as many different meals. Number 5. Ground beef. Some products can be manufactured more quickly when demand increases, but beef doesn't work that way. No matter how much money is invested, there are biological limits that simply can't be accelerated. If a company needs more pasta, it can expand production, operate additional shifts, and produce millions of extra boxes within a matter of days. Raising cattle is completely different. A cow still needs about 9 months to carry a calf, and that calf requires years to grow before it reaches market weight. No amount of investment can shorten that natural timeline. That's why this story isn't just about rising prices. It's about time. Beef production depends on a process that can't be rushed, making supply much slower to recover when shortages occur. One statistic illustrates the challenge. The U.S. beef cattle herd has fallen to its lowest level since 1951, reflecting years of difficult conditions across the industry. Extended droughts and other severe weather have damaged grazing land throughout much of the western United States. As feed became more expensive and pastures produced less forage, many ranchers were forced to reduce the size of their herds. In some cases, they even sold breeding cattle because maintaining them was no longer financially sustainable. The effects of those decisions don't disappear quickly. Rebuilding a breeding herd takes years, which means today's supply shortages can continue influencing beef production well into the future. As a result, ground beef is likely to remain under pricing pressure for quite some time. When shopping at Walmart, one of the most economical choices is usually the larger Great Value family packs. Buying these larger trays often lowers the cost per pound compared with smaller prepackaged portions, allowing families to get more value from each shopping trip. However, purchasing a larger package is only worthwhile if it's stored properly. One common mistake is placing the entire foam tray directly into the freezer. That packaging isn't designed for long-term freezing, and exposure to air can encourage freezer burn while affecting the meat's texture, color, and flavor. A technique many experienced home cooks use is to divide the ground beef into meal-sized portions before freezing. Place each portion into a zip-top freezer bag, then gently flatten it with your hand. This removes excess air, helps protect the meat from freezer burn, saves freezer space, and allows each package to thaw much faster when you're ready to cook. Setting aside several individually packaged portions of quality ground beef now can make meal planning much easier in the weeks ahead. Whether you're preparing tacos, spaghetti, chili, meatballs, casseroles, or hamburgers, you'll have exactly the amount you need without having to thaw an oversized package. Number 4. Canned chicken. Every well-stocked kitchen needs a reliable backup, and canned chicken is one of those quiet pantry staples that can save dinner when your original plans fall apart. Think about a situation where the power suddenly goes out, your freezer stops working, or you arrive at the grocery store only to discover that the fresh meat section has been picked over. What do you cook then? The answer often isn't found in the refrigerated meat case. Instead, it's waiting on the shelves of Walmart's canned food aisle, where canned chicken breast sits ready whenever you need it. Many people buy a single can simply because they want an easy meal on a busy day. Before long, though, they realize it offers something fresh meat never can: complete independence from refrigeration and immediate preparation. That's the real advantage of canned chicken. It doesn't require a freezer, it doesn't depend on electricity, and it doesn't need to be cooked before you can eat it. During power outages, severe weather, or hectic days when time is limited, it remains ready whenever you are. The nutritional value is another reason it deserves a place in the pantry. A typical 12.5-ounce can of great value chicken breast provides about 60 grams of protein while offering a shelf life of up to 5 years when stored properly. Because it stays shelf-stable for so long, canned chicken remains available through every season. It isn't affected by a full refrigerator, unexpected power failures, or days when bad weather makes it difficult to get to the store. That reliability makes it one of the strongest emergency protein sources many families can keep on hand. Experienced shoppers rarely buy only one can when they're restocking. Instead, they often choose the 4-pack or 6-pack multi-packs. Purchasing several cans together usually lowers the cost per serving, making it a practical way to stretch the grocery budget while keeping a dependable food reserve in the pantry. Another common misconception is that canned chicken should only be used when you've completely run out of fresh ingredients. In reality, it's one of the quickest ways to prepare a nutritious meal without spending time thawing, trimming, cooking, or shredding raw meat. Open a can, combine the chicken with a little mayonnaise, chopped celery, and your favorite seasonings, and you've already made a simple chicken salad for sandwiches or wraps. You can also add it directly to a fresh salad, stir it into pasta, mix it with rice, or pour it into hot broth to create a comforting bowl of chicken soup in just a few minutes. Keeping a multi-pack of canned chicken in the back of your pantry is a simple way to prepare for busy weeks or unexpected situations. Then, on those evenings when you're exhausted, short on time, or simply don't feel like cooking from scratch, all you'll have to do is open a can and turn it into a satisfying, protein-rich meal with very little effort. Number 3. Canned tuna. Few pantry staples offer as much convenience and long-term value as a simple can of tuna. It's an inexpensive source of protein that many families rely on whenever they need a quick, dependable meal. Most people don't realize how far that small can has traveled before reaching a Walmart shelf. A can of great value tuna represents the final step in an extensive international supply chain that stretches across multiple countries and oceans. In fact, roughly 80% of the seafood eaten in the United States is imported. Before that tuna reaches your pantry, it often begins its journey with commercial fishing fleets operating thousands of miles away. From there, the fish is transported to major processing and packaging facilities in countries such as Thailand and Ecuador, before eventually making its way through distribution centers and into grocery stores across America. Of course, shoppers don't buy canned tuna because of its impressive global journey. They buy it because it's one of the most dependable protein sources available. While the prices of fresh seafood and meat can fluctuate significantly, canned tuna offers a reliable option that's always ready when you need it. Another major advantage is its long shelf life. Properly stored, canned tuna generally maintains good quality for 3 to 5 years. The sealed steel can protect the fish from exposure to light and air while preserving its nutritional value, including its naturally occurring omega-3 fatty acids. Unlike fresh seafood, canned tuna doesn't require freezer space or constant refrigeration. It sits quietly in the pantry, unaffected by power outages or busy schedules, waiting until the day you need a fast meal with almost no preparation. When shopping at Walmart, many budget-conscious shoppers choose great value canned tuna in 4-can or 8-can multi-packs. Buying the larger packages usually reduces the cost per ounce, making canned tuna one of the most affordable seafood proteins available. One of its biggest advantages is speed. There's no need to thaw fish, remove bones, or spend time cooking from scratch. Simply open the can, drain the water or oil, and it's ready to use in just a few moments. Mix it with a little mayonnaise for a classic tuna salad, toss it into cold pasta, layer it onto a sandwich, or add it to a fresh green salad for an easy protein boost. Because the fish has already been cooked and prepared, meal preparation is both simple and convenient. On those days when work runs late and cooking feels like one task too many, having canned tuna in the pantry can make dinner much easier. Much of the preparation has already been done for you, allowing you to put together a satisfying meal in only a few minutes. Number 2. White rice. Every well-stocked kitchen has one ingredient that quietly supports countless meals without ever demanding attention. More often than not, that ingredient is white rice. It's so common that many of us barely notice it's there. Yet few foods play a more important role in everyday cooking. Rice serves as the foundation for meals across countless cultures, providing a simple, filling base that works with almost any combination of ingredients. Think about how versatile it is. White rice doesn't compete with ground beef, chicken, vegetables, or eggs for the spotlight. Instead, it complements them, bringing everything together into a balanced and satisfying meal. Even the simplest ingredients can become a comforting dinner when served over a bowl of rice. If there were one word that best describes rice, it would be foundation. It's the dependable staple that helps stretch meals further while making the most of whatever ingredients you already have at home. When grocery prices continue rising, white rice becomes even more valuable. Few foods offer as much flexibility for such a low cost, making it one of the strongest pantry staples for protecting a household food budget. The numbers help explain why. A large 20-pound bag of rice purchased at Walmart can provide roughly 180 to 220 servings, depending on portion size. That means each serving costs only a few cents, making rice one of the most economical foods available. Its naturally long shelf life is another major advantage. Properly stored, a large bag of white rice can remain in the pantry for an extended period, quietly providing peace of mind by ensuring there's always a reliable foundation for future meals. Best of all, it doesn't require refrigeration or freezer space to stay ready for use. Another mistake people sometimes make is thinking rice is useful only when cooked fresh each day. Experienced home cooks often take a different approach. They'll prepare a large batch at the beginning of the week, divide it into meal-sized portions, and refrigerate it for quick lunches and dinners throughout the week. After chilling overnight, cooked rice becomes firmer, making it especially well-suited for recipes like fried rice with eggs, stir-fries, grain bowls, or even a warm bowl of rice soup that can be ready in just a few minutes. Keeping rice in your pantry means you're never starting from scratch when it's time to prepare dinner. As long as you have a bag of white rice on hand, you'll always have a dependable base that can be transformed into a complete, satisfying meal whenever your family needs one. Number 1. Honey. We'll finish this list with a food that has earned a remarkable reputation for standing the test of time. Few pantry staples have a history as extraordinary as honey. It may not be the most expensive product on the shelf, but when it comes to long-term value, honey is in a class of its own. Nature has created a food that, when stored properly, can remain usable for an incredibly long time. Those golden, silky drops represent much more than a natural sweetener. They are one of the rare foods that can endure for generations. Archaeologists have even uncovered jars of honey in ancient Egyptian tombs that were more than 3,000 years old. Remarkably, the honey was still considered edible despite the passage of thousands of years, and it achieved that without the help of artificial preservatives. If you've ever opened an older jar of honey and noticed small sugar crystals forming near the bottom, don't assume it's spoiled. Quite the opposite. Crystallization is a completely natural process and is often a sign that you're looking at genuine, minimally processed honey rather than an imitation product. There's no need to throw it away. Simply place the sealed jar in a bowl of warm, not boiling water for several minutes. As the honey gradually warms, the crystals will dissolve, restoring its smooth texture while preserving its natural flavor. Some foods serve only one purpose. They satisfy today's hunger. Others help reduce this month's grocery bill. Honey is different. It offers everyday usefulness while also reminding us that some of the smartest purchases are the ones that continue providing value long after they've been brought home. In many kitchens, honey becomes much more than a sweetener. It can be stirred into tea, drizzled over oatmeal, spread on toast, added to yogurt, incorporated into salad dressings and marinades, or used in baking. A single jar can quietly contribute to dozens of meals and recipes over time. Ultimately, building a well-stocked pantry isn't about buying more food than you need. It's about choosing dependable products at the right time and storing them wisely. A thoughtfully prepared kitchen not only helps control grocery expenses, but also provides flexibility when prices rise or supplies become less predictable. Hopefully, today's countdown has given you a few practical ideas to consider the next time you're shopping at Walmart and deciding which pantry staples deserve a place in your cart. Now, we'd love to hear from you. Which of these 12 grocery items is something you always make sure to buy? Share your answer in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video and found the information useful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and join us again for the next one.